2025 has been a wild ride for anyone watching the markets or managing their money. One day stocks are soaring, the next tariffs, and other news that sends everything tumbling. That's why today we are focused on your financial future and how to take control of your money regardless of the headlines. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. Thanks for joining us for this King 5 special on the money. Whether you're saving, spending, or investing, you've come to the right spot. In case you've missed it, throughout the year on King 5 News at 4, I've been speaking to personal finance expert Tori Dunlap. She's the founder of Her First 100K. She's also the host of a wildly popular podcast called Financial Feminist and wrote a book by the same title. She's a Forbes 30 Under 30 recipient. Today we'll recap some of our recent conversations and share some other money headlines. Some of the biggest factors affecting your money in the first half of 2025 were market volatility and tariffs. Experts say when it comes to your finances, don't panic. Volatility in the markets is normal. It often creates opportunities. The key is to stay informed and be ready to adapt your financial plan. If you don't have a financial plan, don't worry, we will explain how to create one during this half hour. Looking at your financial landscape on a regular basis is important, and you don't want to run away from dealing with it.
I think a lot of people suffer from what we call the ostrich effect, where they bury their head in the sand, they act like their financial problems don't exist. And do you think putting it off is going to make it better? Really, it just makes it worse, right? It prolongs the inevitable. So my favorite tip is to do a money date. This is like a once a month practice. Get yourself a down comforter cocoon, a glass bottle of wine, and just take a moment to look at your money, set some financial goals, look at your accounts. It's a great financial self-care practice.
That means looking at your savings accounts and checking accounts. Make sure there were no mistakes and check what money is coming in and what's going out. Also, look at your credit card statements and make sure those are accurate and there was no fraud. It's also a great time to look at subscriptions and decide if there are any that you should cancel. Unfortunately, achieving the American dream is getting more expensive. We are crunching the numbers and breaking down what it takes to get there. Here's Michael Yoshida reporting.
Investopedia calculated for things that make up the classic American middle class, such as home ownership, retirement, and raising a family, and found that, like many things these days, the cost for achieving these goals is rising.
Affording the American dream is getting more expensive, according to a new analysis from Investopedia.
Everyone has a different price tag on their American dream, but when we looked at what people want, the wants that people have, not the needs, it totals to more than $5 million.
Investopedia's Caleb Silver says they looked at 8 pillars of the classic American middle class aspiration: retirement, owning a home, raising 2 children and paying for college, healthcare, buying a new car, yearly vacations, owning pets, and paying for a wedding.
Every component of the American dream has risen in price, not just over the past year, but really over the past 25 years.
Silver says several of these components have outpaced inflation. And while many Americans pursue some version of this life, the economic reality is it's getting harder to achieve it.
If you earn the median income throughout the course of your working life, we're talking about 40 years, from 25 to 65, you'll earn around $2.8 million or so. But if the dream costs $5 million plus and rising, you have to fill that gap somehow.
But Silver says don't focus on the $5 million price tag. Figure out what your American dream is and the amount needed to make that a reality.
It becomes a lot easier once you know what the number is, and then you can devote your time and your energy to both working, earning an income, and then investing your money so you can make that catch-up contribution so you can achieve the dream that you want to live.
And healthcare was a new item to this year's list of goals to achieve for that American dream. Now, it's both a need and a want, and when Investopedia surveyed people, they found, well, healthcare is something that people want for both their lives and their family members. That ended up adding quite a big chunk to that $5 million price tag for the American dream. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Michael mentioned retirement. Saving for that can often seem daunting. Earlier this year, NerdWallet conducted a study that showed 39% of Americans said not having enough saved for retirement was a financial concern. Here's Jen Sullivan with more.
The cost of living continues to rise, and that means you'll need more money for retirement. But when should you start saving, and just how much do you need?
There's really no such thing as too early.
Samuel Taub is an investing writer for NerdWallet. Earlier this year, they conducted a survey and found 39% of Americans said not having enough saved for retirement was a financial concern. The most common types of retirement accounts are an IRA, which is controlled by you, or a 401k, which is sponsored by your employer, and many companies will match what you put in.
IRAs typically don't cost anything to open. Even contributing a small amount if you're fresh out of college and waiting tables can still make a big difference down the line.
Here's how much Fidelity Investment suggests you have in savings. By 30, you should have 1 times your salary, and it goes up by age. By 67, you should have 10 times your salary in a retirement account. But a lot depends on where you live and your lifestyle.
If you're living in a high cost of living or even medium cost of living area, that number may be north of $1 million.
Go Banking Rates recently broke down how much you need to retire wealthy. In popular retirement communities like Prescott, Arizona, you need just over $1.8 million to retire for 20 years. In Naples, Florida, you need just under that. Other ways to grow your retirement savings is investing in the market or even cryptocurrencies.
Once you get older and closer to retirement, the general consensus is that you're supposed to shift your portfolio into safer assets like a heavier bond allocation in order to preserve your money against the possibility of a downturn.
A financial advisor can help you reach your retirement goals.
So if you saw some of those numbers and thought to yourself, how am I going to get there? Let's hear from Tori Dunlap again with 3 tips on setting your financial goals.
When we're thinking about setting financial goals, it's very easy to just say things like, I want to be better with money this year, or I want to save more money. Those things are not specific. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So when it comes to setting financial goals or any sort of goal, you need to make sure it's very specific. You either know if you hit it or if you didn't. We don't want it to be this fantasy or this random thing, right? We want it to be very hyper specific so we know what to actually do to achieve it. My favorite 3-step formula for goal setting. Your goals need to be specific, timely, and mission driven. So instead of saying, I want to be better with money this year, or even I want to save money, for me it was, I want to save $100,000 by the time I turn 25, right? It was specific, it was $100,000, it was timely, it was by the time I turn 25, and then the mission part, people forget, right? It's very easy to just focus on the goal itself, but you need to tie a why to it, and we have to give ourselves a reason to care. What inevitably happens is you start going through life and you're focused on your debt payoff or you're focused on your savings goal, and then life gets in the way. It's very easy to forget why you're doing this, why you're saving that money, or why you're trying to pay off your student loans. So for me, that 100K at 25 was my permission slip to leave a job I didn't want to be in anymore and run her first 100K, this business that I now run full time. It was the permission slip I needed to quit. So I want to save $100,000 by the time I'm 25 so that I can quit my job and run my business full time. So when things get hard, when it's hard to remember why you're doing this, tie your goal to a why. And my favorite hack, in addition to that 3-step formula, I have done this with every single goal that I have set, and I've achieved every single one. It's to set your goals like they've already happened. So write them in the past tense. So instead of, I want to save or I want to pay off my debt, say, I feel so great now that I'm debt free. Or for me, it was, I want to become a New York Times bestselling author. It felt so good that my book was a New York Times bestseller. And this was before the book even came out. So if we can basically convince our brains and our minds that we've already done it, then anything's possible. It's that incredible Anderson Pot quote, if I know I can get it, then I've already had it. So set your goals in the past tense.
If you become unemployed, it is taking people longer to find jobs compared to past years. So what are a few things that you can do? Reporter Karen Kafa has a few tips, including how AI might help you.
Well, Jessica, I spoke with Laura Ulrich of Indeed, the job hunt website, and she has the unique perspective of being an economist who can look at those trends, but also seeing all of those Indeed postings in real time. And one of the things she says is to go where the jobs are, right? Right now, you can look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics report every month and see that the areas where they are adding jobs include healthcare and social assistance. Well, you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse to work in the healthcare sector. Think outside the box a little bit. Ulrich says to scan your resume and find skills that can transfer to other areas. So look at your resume, see where things align. You can also use an AI tool, for example, to kind of scan your resume and see where it might fit with different job postings. Also, there's been a lot of talk about recent college grads having difficulty getting their feet in the door. That's another opportunity to look outside of the box, scan your resume for even volunteer opportunities, things you've done on a college campus, to try to highlight those experiences and skills that can make you more attractive to the employers that are hiring right now.
Tori Dunlap also weighs in on some resume building tips and tricks. Here's part of our conversation we had during a newscast about going after the job you want.
I think the biggest thing as someone who both teaches people how to find a job but is also an employer is that we're not looking for you to meet 100% of the job requirements.
Okay.
This is kind of a wish list, right? So when you're applying, you want to look for something 70 to 80% of the way there. I especially see this with women. Women don't qualify for jobs unless they're 100%, or don't apply for jobs unless they're 100% qualified. And we want to have a little bit of flexibility in terms of that.
Still ahead, car prices are climbing. We will take a look at what's making both new and used cars more expensive, and there's still a way to save if you time it right. And looking to make a little extra cash, from passion projects to part-time gigs, more people than ever are launching side hustles. We have some simple steps to start one and make sure it's worth your time. If you're in the market for a new car, listen up. Tariffs are pushing up new car prices, and the used car market is up too. As we get closer to the end of the year, that may be the perfect time to find a deal. Jen Sullivan reports.
If you're in the market to buy a pre-owned car, be prepared for some sticker shock.
If you walk in there blind and you have no idea what the numbers are going to look like, I think you're going to be offended when they present numbers to you that you didn't expect.
Joseph Yoon with Edmund says used car prices skyrocketed during the early pandemic when manufacturing and imports halted. The auto industry is still recovering. According to Edmunds, the average transaction prices for cars that are 3 years old was more than $31,000. That's up 5.2% from last year. Yoon also says automakers aren't offering many deals these days, and buyers have less negotiating power on the price.
Your local dealership may run specials, but it's not the same sales that used to be there before the pandemic.
Yoon says the price of new cars has gone up recently, and because of that, he says more people are buying used. But there's much less inventory, and fewer people are leasing cars, which is also hurting the pre-owned car market.
Those cars aren't coming back to dealer lots as used vehicles, which means inventory will remain stunted for quite a while.
Tariffs are also driving up the cost of repairs. Most imported car parts are facing a 25% tariff. And there's a separate 50% tariff on imported steel and aluminum, some of which ends up in car and truck production. The price of car repairs jumped 5% from July to August, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report, which measures inflation. And repair costs are up 15% from a year ago. If you are looking to purchase a pre-owned car, Yoon says you'll find the best deals at the end of the year as dealerships make room for the 2026 models. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
More Americans are getting creative with their incomes. Getting a side hustle used to be just considered a backup plan, but now it can sometimes turn into a main source of financial stability. That's exactly what happened to our money expert, Tori Dunlap, who you've been hearing from. She walks us through her tips on how to start and build a side hustle.
So there's a lot of misconceptions about side hustles. One is that you need to invent something or be on Shark Tank. You don't have to do either of those things. One is that you need to immediately quit your full-time job in order to go all in on this business. Also not true. Her first 100K, which is this multi-million-dollar company that I started, actually started as a side hustle. And it took me a couple years to get to the point where I could quit my job to invest in the business full time. So a side hustle is a great way for you to achieve your financial goals faster, whether that's paying off debt or savings. It's also a great way for you if you have entrepreneurial hopes or dreams. It's a great way to start testing those to see what the actuality is in that. Is this idea a good one? Do people need your product or your service? And it's a great way for you to kind of catapult your personal finance goals too. When we're figuring out what kind of side hustle to start, I like using what I call the 3T formula. So it's time, talent, and treasure. So time, how much time do you have? How much time do you have to allot? And what time do you need to, make in your schedule to accommodate? The second T is talent. Are there talents or skills that you already have that you can use in a side hustle capacity? So for me, my background is in marketing. It made sense that I was doing marketing in my 9-to-5 job and then was also freelancing on the side. And with talent, does the business you want to run or the side hustle you're interested in require you to gain skills that you don't already have? And finally, treasure. How quickly do you want to make money? Is this I need money right now? Then starting a business that takes multi-years to scale is probably not the most ideal outcome for you. Then you're looking at a more gig type side hustle where you can make quicker money. When it comes to finding time to manage your side hustle with your full-time job, I'll give you a couple of the tips that worked best for me. One is I followed my energy, and that sounds a little woo-woo, but it worked really well for me. There were some nights where I had a really hard day at work and I was supposed to get stuff done for the business, and it was just not gonna happen. I was going to watch Netflix and that was gonna be okay. And there was other times where it was 10 o'clock at night and I should have gone to bed, but I got a boost of energy. And those are the times you want to invest in the side hustle if you have control over your time, because you don't know when that energy is coming back. The second thing is you want to time block as much as possible. You want to kind of set these specific time blocks that are non-negotiable, where you can go in and get the stuff that you need to get done, and make that accommodate your current 9-to-5 job. I think the other thing I wish more people understood about side hustles is it can be really, really tempting to, kind of get sick of your 9-to-5 or be like, gosh, I just want to quit. I want to do this thing full time, or I want to, be able to work more on this business, this passion project, this side hustle. And in actuality, my 9-to-5 was my biggest investment in my business. I didn't take VC funding. I didn't take outside capital. I didn't take a loan. That 9-to-5 business, the stability, the 401k, the set pay structure, right? Those were all of the things that allowed me to invest in my business. And that was the first investor. It was a valuable use of my time as opposed to a waste. So at Her First 100K, we help women build a profitable business plan in 90 days or less through our business bootcamp product. So you can go to herfirst100k.com to learn all about that, and we'd love to see you.
After the break, tackling your student loans. When should you consolidate? How do you pay them off quickly? Our money expert weighs in. Plus, making sure you stay on track with your budget during the holidays and vacations. We have a simple checklist to make sure you don't overspend. Welcome back. After years of pauses and extensions, student loan payments are finally due again for many Americans. It's one of the biggest financial hurdles for millions of Americans. And here's some advice from Tori on paying those off.
Nationally, there is over $1 trillion of student debt, and it's no wonder that so many students feel shame and judgment, because it's a really, really expensive thing that feels absolutely necessary to our careers and our lives. And the average person cannot go to college without taking on debt. When we're talking about paying off our student loans, the first thing is you need to understand how the loan actually works. I know from so much research that the average person goes into debt because they don't understand how that loan operates, the terms, the interest rate. So the first thing is to get into the nitty-gritty, actually understand what loan type you have, what the repayment schedule is, and how that works. The second thing is you have to understand with any sort of loan, student loan or otherwise, that there's the principal plus the interest. So the principal is the original amount of money you took out, right? So if you have $30,000 in student loans, your principal is $30,000. The interest is the cost of that debt, and that's really what can start hurting you, especially when that interest is, continually accruing over time. So when we're getting a plan to pay off our debt, we need to understand what our total balance is, so that original principal amount plus the interest, and also those terms and conditions of the loan, and understanding, is it a federal loan or a private loan? Federal loans are offered through the government, private loans are offered through private companies. And when it comes to student loan forgiveness or student loan consolidation, both of these are affecting the way you pay off the loan depending on the type. So consolidation can be a really, really effective strategy to help you pay off your debt sooner, but only for private loans. We do not want to consolidate federal loans through the government, because those federal loans, if consolidated with a private company, will no longer be eligible for any government student loan forgiveness. So consolidation can be a really great thing, especially if your interest rate is high, but only for those private loans. When we think about paying off our student loan debt more aggressively, or any kind of debt really, what we want to do is think about lowering the principal. If we can lower that original amount of money, you're going to pay less in interest, which means you're going to save money on that debt. So if you're sending that monthly payment in and you can add a little bit extra, great, and make sure that extra is going towards the principal amount.
The holidays are fast approaching, with many Americans taking time off to travel. When it comes to setting a realistic budget, here are some hacks on how to stay on track. Start before you even pack. Set a budget on how much you have to spend and how much you need to save in preparation. It's smart to decide what your priorities are and set aside how much money you want based on what's important to you. Make sure your travel buddy or family is on board on how much you're both spending so you can stay accountable, and track yourself as you go.
Just checking in with your money, and also focusing really, again, on what do you value, where do you want to have those memories on vacation. That should be where the majority of your money is being spent.
And whenever you decide to take a vacation, try to take advantage of credit card points for perks on hotel rooms and other rewards. You can rack up points to redeem free flights, free rental cars, or even free resorts. Another place where you can budget and chip away at your goals is the grocery store. Small savings can add up over time. Mandy Gaither reports on how you can achieve a nutritious but budget-friendly diet.
You want to eat healthy, but you also have to watch your budget. Experts say doing both can be hard right now, but not impossible.
Are we making any unnecessary purchases, such as snack foods, sugar-sweetened beverages, any maybe convenience foods? Are we eating out more than we should?
Registered dietitian Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says all of those things add up. So instead of spending your money on them, shift your focus to whole foods, which are the foundation of a healthy diet. That includes lean proteins, whole grains, fruits, veggies, and healthy fats.
Before you walk into that grocery store, I would do a little bit of planning ahead. So make a grocery list, check for sales and any discounts or coupons. Those are also great.
Zumpano says buying in bulk can also save money. So can avoiding what she calls convenience foods like pre-washed vegetables, pre-marinated meats, and fruit that's already been cut.
If you're able to do some of that legwork on your own, you can save cost there too.
Going with frozen fruit and vegetables or fresh produce that's in season can also add nutrition to your diet without the extra cost. And she says stick with staples.
Beans and legumes are an excellent staple to have because they provide so many nutrients.
I'm Mandy Gaither.
We focused a lot on spending and budgeting, but that doesn't mean that managing your money has to be boring. We also need to spend on things that we love and give us joy. When we come back, some final notes on enjoying your hard-earned money. So let's end things on a positive note. If saving and budgeting make you a little bit stressed, remember that financial resilience is about preparation, awareness, and small, consistent steps. You have the power to take control of your money.
What do you say to people who say it's just too complicated?
That's a common misconception. I think it's probably the most harmful. There's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's built on making you feel like you're too stupid to understand, and that's traditional finance, right? Is we believe there's tons of jargon or that you need a degree to do this. You don't need either.
Also remember, it's okay to enjoy spending money, but it's a good idea to prioritize the things that you love and value.
I am not the financial expert who's going to come to you and tell you that you can never spend money again. 99% of diets don't work, and it works the same with spending. If you tell me I can't have fried chicken, all I want is fried chicken. So when it comes to spending, we actually just want to spend money on the things that we love and not spend money on the things that we feel lukewarm about. So the easiest way to identify the things that you actually care about are through the practice I mentioned in my book called the 3 value categories. These are the 3 areas in your life where you get the most joy. So for me, I like spending my money on food out, travel, and plants. My plants are my babies. That's where the majority of my money goes. Those 3 value categories are going to change depending on the person, but the vast majority of your discretionary money should be going to the things that you love the most.
And if spending makes you feel good, you are not alone. But the good news is that saving money can also make you feel that same high as you get closer to your financial goals.
Spending gives you the same hit of dopamine that anything fun does. And that add to cart feeling, there's very few things like it. Feels really, really good. And especially when things are really stressful, when politics seems crazy or the state of the world feels uncontrollable, it's one thing you can control, which is getting that hit of dopamine when you add to cart, but also when it shows up on your doorstep the next day. The thing about spending is that you can get that same hit of dopamine by saving money. And I know you're like, okay, you're a financial expert. You're just telling me that. It's literally scientifically proven that the same dopamine, the same happiness hit that you get chemically when you add to cart can be replicated when you save money too. So that's a nice way of being able to control that mindless spending, that like swipe up on an Instagram ad or add to TikTok shop, and instead feel like you're doing something productive with it.
Thanks for joining us for On the Money, and tune in to King 5 News at 4 every Monday for Money Monday. We have financial experts. You can get answers to your financial questions and hear advice on how to make the right investments for your future. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. Thank you so much for watching.